The temple of God, established through Jesus' death and resurrection. The foundation of God's temple was laid through Jesus' death and resurrection. But this temple isn't built with bricks or mortar. It's built on Jesus himself, the cornerstone and foundation of a new spiritual covenant. In John 10:19, Jesus said, "Destroy this temple, and in 3 days I will raise it up." He wasn't referring to a physical structure. He was speaking of his own body, a new temple, established through his sacrifice and resurrection. Let's take a look at the construction of Solomon's temple. This wasn't just a project for the Israelites. Jews and Gentiles worked together to build it. In fact, some of the most skilled craftsmen were Gentiles, sent by King Hiram of Tyre, 1 Kings 5:1-18. Why does this matter? Because it points to a future reality, a temple made up of all nations and all people through Christ. The temple today, the body of believers. So, where is God's temple today? It's not in Jerusalem. It's not a church building. The temple is us, those who believe in Christ's death and resurrection. We are the living stones that form a spiritual house for God's presence. In 1 Peter 2:4-5, we see this clearly. And coming to him as to a living stone, which has been rejected by people, but is choice and precious in the sight of God, you also, as living stones, are being built up as a spiritual house for a holy priesthood, to offer spiritual sacrifices acceptable to God through Jesus Christ. Significance of 1 Peter 2:4-5. Let's break this down. 1. Jesus as the living stone. Jesus is called the cornerstone, the most important part of any structure. Though rejected by humans, he was chosen by God to be the foundation of this new temple. Isaiah 28:16, Psalm 118:22. Without Jesus, the spiritual house cannot stand. 2. Believers as living stones. You and I are the living stones. We are being shaped, refined, and placed into this spiritual house. We share in Jesus' life and mission, forming one body in Christ. Ephesians 2:19-22. The spiritual house, God's dwelling place. This temple isn't a physical structure. It's a spiritual house where God's Spirit dwells. In 1 Corinthians 3:16, Paul reminds us, "Do you not know that you are God's temple and that God's Spirit dwells in you?" Every believer is a part of this divine structure. Together, we create a dwelling place for God, a temple not built by human hands but established by faith in Christ. What does this mean for us today? It means that wherever we go, we carry God's presence with us. We don't need a building to encounter God. We are His temple and He lives within us. So, how will you live knowing that you are part of God's temple? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. Call to action: if this message resonated with you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more Bible studies. Let's continue building God's temple, one living stone at a time.
You deserve the praise. Lead me to your altar. Wash away my shame.